Hi, I'm Michael Arnold, and if you've been trying to get pregnant for any length of time, then it's quite possible that you might have started to lose hope and to become jaded. And maybe you've tried a few different options. Maybe you've tried different therapies. Maybe you've tried taking your temperatures. You've tried ovulation kits. You might have tried IVF or various different medical interventions. And it's easy to start to lose hope and think, okay, well, maybe it's not going to happen. Um, and with so many things in life, it's just a question of trying harder. Like if you're trying to get a good job, uh, you can just apply for lots of interviews and work hard at it, and eventually you'll get the job that you want. Um, but with fertility, it's often the first time people are confronted with this sense of being out of control and having something that is outside of your control. No matter how hard you try, it just somehow seems to elude you. And often when people come to see me, I do find that there is this kind of like reluctance to even believe that it could be possible. Um, and that's kind of part of the reasoning behind the Pregnant in 6 Months program that we put together. Uh, because earlier this year, I looked through my results for the patients that have come to me over the last 3 years, and I found something quite startling. So I knew that we got great results for couples with unexplained infertility, and that 66% of couples who have unexplained infertility, who are under 40, will fall pregnant using our methods within 6 months. And again, looking at the most recent results, I found that it was roughly similar. It was actually 67% this time. But what I didn't expect was actually looking at all the couples who'd come to see me over the last 3 years. And this has included people who had some medical issues that have been found, including polycystic ovaries, endometriosis, kind of hormonal imbalances. Uh, and this is like age ranges from 33 to 45. 58% of them fell pregnant within 6 months. And this was actually even a surprise to me. Um, and I think a lot of people, if you compare, first of all, if you compare that to the IVF success rate, so some of these people were having IVF, I have to add that in, but the IVF success rate alone, if you're under 35, nationwide is only 30%. And if between, I think by the time it gets to 40, to age 40, it's less than 20%. Um, so it's kind of quite striking. Like I said, it even surprised me. I've been practicing acupuncture for about 15 years now, and it still surprised me that we get much better success rates than IVF. And I think for a lot of people, that's quite hard to get their head around. How can something like acupuncture be more successful than IVF with this big medical industry behind it? And surely that's much more rigorous and scientific. Um, and so what we wanted to do was to actually really give people a way of trying out what we do without any risk. So that's originally why we put together the Pregnant in 6 Months program, because there was a whole lot of people that we were helping that were getting pregnant, that were actually having families, having babies who had, in many cases, had tried IVF without success, um, and in some cases had all but given up hope. Um, and we wanted a way to kind of get that out and actually kind of say, look, this is something that can really help a lot of people, and in many cases it can be more effective than IVF. And what's more, you feel better from having the treatment, not worse. A lot of people come out of IVF feeling physically and emotionally drained by the process. People who come to us tend to feel just more alive, more invigorated, just experience a greater sense of peace in their lives. And this is something that's quite hard to put into words. So we wanted to give people a way of trying this out without risking anything financially. So that's why we put together the Pregnant in 6 Months program, where you could have a 6 month course of treatment, and if you didn't fall pregnant within that time, then you could have your money back. And this was originally only open to couples with unexplained infertility, because that's where we knew we got the best success results. But like I said, recently, just early on this year, having looked at all the results from all the people who come to me over the last 3 years, I found actually that there was scope to expand this program to other people who perhaps weren't eligible in the past. And These might include people who were perhaps between 40 and 44, or who had polycystic ovaries, or who had hormonal imbalances, or where the sperm quality or the sperm count wasn't perfect. Um, there are some people who still wouldn't be eligible for the full pregnant in 6 months program, or they wouldn't be eligible for the money back guarantee anyway. We've also changed the model of the way we're working. Is that now we're only taking on patients who commit to a full 6 months course of treatment, because we find that those are the people who get the best results, the one who commit to the full 6 months. But you also get the opportunity to try it out for 5 weeks before you have to commit to the 6 months. And if after those 5 weeks of treatment you realize it's not for you for any reason at all, then you can just stop treatment, and you can even claim a full refund on the treatment up to that point. Um, so we really wanted to make it as accessible as possible, and really easy for people to just try it out for themselves, and really kind of see for themselves. Um, so, like I said, we've recently expanded the options now, so that there are 3 different options. You can read about it below on this page. Um, and we've also got an option which is even more affordable than ever, which you can also read about on this page. So yeah, if you've got any questions, if you want to, the first step is to actually come along for a free consultation. If you get in touch with Amy, our assistant, she will give you a pre-consultation questionnaire to fill out, so we can find out a little bit more about your situation. And then, assuming everything looks good from there, we will book you in for a free consultation to come and meet us. And you can find out more about how it works. And like I said, then the next step after that, if it feels right, and if we feel we can help, is to try out a course of treatment for 5 sessions. And usually within that time, people just start to notice, obviously, it's occasionally people will fall pregnant within that time. I have to say it's actually quite rare. That's why we have the 6 month program. But you do start to get a sense of what the treatment is about, and many people actually start to experience a greater sense of ease and lightness and peace in themselves from having the treatment just for those first 5 weeks. Because for many people, it's really a challenging process trying for a baby, because when you first start out, there's a lot of hope, and it'll happen easily, and because people spend their whole lives up to that point trying not to get pregnant, that you assume that when you do try and get pregnant, it's going to happen straight away. And then when it doesn't happen after a few months, people start to go, they start to kind of worry, is there something wrong with me? Have I left it too late? And the stress builds up and becomes a pressure, and then instead of sort of being something exciting, it becomes like a chore. Like, okay, it's ovulation time. Okay, now and it's kind of that added pressure of like, okay, when am I ovulating? And kind of figuring that out, and it starts to take over people's lives quite often. So what we often see is people just start to get their lives back a bit more and start to take some of the pressure off themselves, and just start to. I often say to people, for the first few months, we're gonna almost kind of put the fertility to one side and just kind of focus on helping you to feel really well again and to enjoy your life. And because it's very easy to say, oh, just don't think about it, don't think about it. And actually that has the opposite effect. If I say to you, don't think of a pink elephant, don't think of a pink elephant, don't think of a pink elephant, what are you going to think of? Often well-meaning people will say to you, just don't think about getting pregnant, just don't think about fertility. And that's actually sometimes well-meaning, but it's actually probably the worst advice you can give. So we don't say that. We kind of just say, okay, we're just going to put the fertility to one side, and we're going to kind of just shift the focus, if you like, to helping you to feel well. And often people do. Often people after a few months just start to come back and they say, okay, well, I still really want to have a baby, but instead of being the whole, it now seems though instead of being the be-all and end-all and something that I just can't live without, I really enjoy my life now, and it'll be the icing on the cake when I have a family. And I think we all instinctively know that is the state that is most conductive to increase your chance of falling pregnant. But it's not easy to achieve that, and like I said, we're very much not saying just don't think about it, don't think about it, because that, like I said, that often really doesn't help. So anyway, I've been talking long enough now. So like I said, if you want to find out more, get in touch with Amy, our assistant, and I look forward to meeting you.